It's sad and clear that on several counts you've discussed, you don't know what you're talking about. I would like, for example, for you to express in clear terms.
His discomforted face said it all, but he decided to keep listening.
And when you're finished with that, perhaps you could tell us what you personally have been doing for the last 7 years.
You can please some of the people some of the time.
The individual wanted to embarrass him.
One of the hardest things when you're trying to affect change is that people like this gentleman are right in some areas.
This provocation would reveal Jobs' hidden attitudes. Who wasn't reacting in the best way?
There's probably even more that I'm not familiar with.
He wasn't pleased with the constant criticism, and this wouldn't be the only occasion. Years later, Steve embarrassed an attendee.
My camera's not turning on. What's that? I did slide it and let go.
He was in a conference with thousands of people. Things didn't go as expected. He got frustrated and made a terrible decision.
Not turning on. Here.
His assistant didn't know what to do and just received it, along with Jobs' disgust.
We'll let an expert see if he can turn it on.
The video came out and divided opinions. His lack of patience was because his life was running short. It was known that sometimes he spoke poorly to his employees. Even so, he was admired and had many followers, although he also lost his patience with his fans.
They are slow today. You know, you could help me out if you're on Wi-Fi, if you could just get off.
In another of his monologues before hundreds of spectators, he realized that many were connected to the Wi-Fi network, making his products' displays slower.
I really want your Wi-Fi devices off. Are they off? Please turn them off if you've turned them back on. If you want to see the demos, shut all your laptops, turn off all these Wi-Fi base stations. So we either turn off all this stuff and see the demos, or we give up and I don't show you the demos.
He had a particular way of treating his audience, and had no scruples in saying if something bothered him.
Guys, could I ask you to stop using the flashes for a little while? That'd be great. I can hardly see anymore.
Despite all these displays of his character, no one wanted to miss one of his talks. There were those who would have given anything to see him in person and immerse themselves in his philosophy, with which he conquered the world.
And I readily admit there are many things in life that I don't have the faintest idea what I'm talking about. So I apologize for that too.
In the conference where they tried to discomfort him, he responded elegantly and without wanting to argue.
But there's a whole lot of people working super, super hard right now at Apple. You know, hundreds of people below them to execute on some of these things, and they're doing their best. And I think that what we need to do, and some mistakes will be made, by the way. That's good, because at least some decisions are being made along the way.
It was because of these kinds of response in problematic moments that Steve ended up becoming a technology icon. After having answered the uncomfortable question, the conference continued as he'd planned. Just like the moment when he threw the object to his assistant, it didn't escalate and was just that. One of the memorable moments of his conferences.
We're making mistakes. We're fixing them as fast as we can.
Jobs was known for his sincerity. It was Bill Gates himself who said, "His most admirable virtue is to always be himself." Some say that if he weren't in the tech world, he could easily be one of the best communicators in the whole history. Although that's up for debate among his followers and those who didn't fully agree with him. Although they always tried to create scandals, he just didn't listen to his toughest critics. because he was convinced of what he was doing. Beyond whether he had moments of anger or not, he always answered questions, no matter the criticism. And unlike other tech magnates, in his conferences he tried to be close to his audience, showing that he liked to share his knowledge, without thinking that would turn him into a reference for many, and that after his passing, his legacy would continue.